Alright, who's ready to get stuck into some more Helldivers? Because we've got a lot to talk about today. The current terminated major order is winding down, and it looks like the studio's attempts to steer us over to Heath were unsuccessful. We've had another bit of info pop up on the mysterious PS5 Pro update, Warbond and super credit discussions aplenty over in the Discord, brought about by what turned into a developer Q&A session, and a whole lot more. The easiest way to support the channel and content like this is to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell so you never miss one of my future upload alerts. And now, let's check out all the latest from Helldivers. Okay, in terms of the current terminated major order, barring a last-second overwhelming invasion brought on by evil Game Master Joel, we've now fully completed all 5 defense campaigns versus the bugs, and we also hold Polaris Prime and Fenrir 3, so GG's to all the divers that took place in this one. The timer is now just under 24 hours, but that's still a lot of time for something to pop up, so keep your eyes peeled, and if anything changes, I'll post an alert to the community tab over here on the YouTube channel so you are instantly notified. I did want to quickly touch on yesterday's dispatch that popped up, attempting to steer the Helldivers to take Heath instead of individually defending both Cirrus and Angel's Venture, therefore pulling off the defense gambit. And despite the in-game messages, the devs' effort went nowhere. I've also read viewer comments that they will many times take a look at the Gambit planet and see something like 12 environmental effects and decide to go nowhere close to that planet because of just how brutal the conditions can be there. On the other hand, Heath was an ice planet, so it only had the slowing effects for the deep snow and blizzards, along with a slower fire rate due to the cold. I mean, in the end, players are going to play this game the way they want to play it. They're going to go where they want and fight who they choose, and that's just the way it is. I don't know, maybe in the future Arrowhead can add in some symbols that would make the Gambit planets look just as enticing as the defense campaigns. And I'd also like to know how you would improve the current system of symbols on the galactic map. Leave me a comment and let's see what the community has to say on this one. 2 last pieces of galactic news. Today's daily order for 15 medals is to drop 10 stalkers, and I haven't seen them pop up in the daily rotation in a long time, so listen for those low-pitched growls and definitely be on your guard. And second, we've also just had a Superstore reset, this time bringing back the alternate Viper Commando armors. So for the next 2-ish or so days, you can pick up the medium Jaguar armor with peak physique and the super beefy heavyweight Gorilla with the dual combo of reduced recoil and engineering kit for +2 throwables. In terms of the back-end files for the game, well, we just did get the minor update yesterday, mainly focused in on removing or reducing the jitter when aiming down the sights with scoped weapons, but to many within the community who noticed the 600 meg file size, the fixes didn't seem to match the bulk of that file size, and I'm sure the community is busy at work looking for any speck of changes that were not mentioned. Taking a look at SteamDB, and the mass change parade continues on as private branches are being added in bulk and files changed. You can see that just in the last 24 hours, the devs have again been busy making wholesale adjustments and possibly fixing lingering issues. Speaking of which, I have received some messages about players getting stuck in a prone position and slithering around on the ground after getting ragdolled, and I've personally seen this one quite a bit since the Omens of Tyranny update went live, and it looks like it has been added now to the known issues board, which we see here. Helldivers may get stuck in a prone pose after ragdolling. Now, the way to get unstuck is to then dive, and it should reset you to a POV that you can stand back up and move along, or at least that's how I've been getting rid of it. But it does make for some funny clips when you're sliding all over the place like a snake, hell-bent on spreading democracy, even from your belly. Turning now to the Discord, and we received an update on the mysterious PS5 Pro upgrade, coming to us from community manager B Vitamin, who responded to a member asking when the game will get fully optimized for the Pro, as if they didn't know. B Vitamin responded saying an update for it was released on October 29th to increase the resolution of quality mode to 4K and the performance mode to 1440p, but if there's anything else coming, I wouldn't know. Now, I took a look at the update archives, and October 29th was update 1.001.201, which had a ton of fixes and adjustments baked into it, and there was zero mention of anything to do with PS5 Pro, which again seemed very odd because there were items like localization and other very small and minute details spelled out here in the patch notes. But it's apparently there and installed in the game for PS5 Pro, but from what I'm reading, you need to do a little workaround to get it to actually take effect. And once I nail down the procedures, expect to see it featured here in a future video. B-Vitamin also responded to a member stating they've run into a bug where the radar station terminal was actually spawning in underground, making it impossible to complete. And B-Vitamin added to this one as well when they said, "This is reported pretty often, along with the same issue affecting black box terminals. It's proving difficult to reproduce. We'd appreciate any extra info that might point us to the cause." Now, I've not run into either of these issues, but it looks like the dev team is really struggling to find the root cause. And if you have seen it, I'll leave a link to the known issues board down in the video description where you can file a support ticket and possibly help get this one identified and patched completely out of the game. Now, I know a lot of you are super interested in topics like weapon customization, cross-save, major updates, Warbonds, and yes, super credits, which is a perfect transition into this one because we did get some feedback on all of this from community manager Sefez when he seems to have popped into the official Discord and fielded many questions from the community. Now, first up, and sadly, it doesn't seem like weapon customization is anywhere close to arriving in the game, or possibly it's not a high priority right now with the dev team. As Sefez answered, "We're talking about it, can't make any promises though." So, with the way Arrowhead likes to meet and plan out their work cycles and dev time, this could arrive later than I know many of you would like it to. Another feature I've seen widely requested is cross-save, so you can jump back and forth between PS5 and PC and stay on one continuous saved account. And this one looks to be even further away, if at all, as Sefez again answered. It's fairly low on our list currently as far as I'm aware, but I understand the frustration. And you know what? Leave me a comment and some feedback about this one. I'm genuinely interested to see where the community lands. How many of you would really like to see cross-save added into the game so you can swap platforms and keep that grind time alive? Timelines and release schedules was also a topic as it relates to major updates, and sadly, Sefez couldn't really give us anything to go on with this one, simply adding, quote, "We do have a lot of plans for major updates," as well as stepping in and responding to a member asking if they had ever considered revamping the tutorial to include instruction on how the galactic map worked, including things like gambits in an instructional setting, and it comes down to resources versus value. As Sefez did say, quote, "We could, but that would take away resources that are working on more exciting things." So, I would not expect to see a tutorial rework at any point in the game's future, but it does highlight the need for more in-game information to be readily available to the player base. The ability to spend our in-game currencies was also a requested topic because at this point, once you reach a certain level with the game, you're maxed out on rec slips, you're maxed out on medals, and it comes down to just stockpiling super credits. And Sefez did once again confirm that the dev team is looking into other venues for us to spend our currencies on. Now, I know we've talked about this subject before, but what sort of system would you implement into the game? What sort of changes would you install to take advantage of those currencies? I want to hear your thoughts on everything to do with this topic. How about the poor old Democracy Space Station, which at this point has become a meme, an orbital anchor deep in the heart of bot territory? And Sefez said that, like many of the features that they are currently working on, they are looking into it, as it's a complex feature to nail down, his words, and that discussions are ongoing. Now, I guess the only question I have is that if the original DSS was not nailed down, why was it ever installed into the game? That was a lot of time and effort spent by the diver base to get that thing completed, and it's just sitting out there, and it's currently useless, as it has been for weeks now. A sample trade-down system was also requested, so I guess in this case samples could be converted into other samples through the use of this conversion system, to which he did respond that the dev team had no plans to take a look at that right now. Hints were also dropped that they are not stopping with the introduction of the FRV, so we might get even more vehicles added into the game in the future. And he also added in the fact that he'd like to see pets, even a Hellhound, brought onto the Super Destroyer, saying it's a personal dream of his that he's had for years. And then we got into the big three topics, and these responses, starting off with big free Warbonds, for instance, and this is one he does reference in his response, the Helldivers mobilized offerings. Anyways, here's what he had to say on this one. We have plenty of cool ideas for different Warbonds. Can't make any promises for new additional big free Warbonds, like the Helldivers mobilized one, as it cost us a lot of money to make them. But sometimes, if it makes sense for us to do it, then we'd be more than happy to release specific ones on special occasions for free. What sort of special occasions? Well, the one I'm thinking of is the 1-year anniversary for Helldivers 2 going live, which is just a few weeks away. And yeah, that would be an awesome time to drop one of these surprise free packs into the game, but I'd also like to hear your ideas on this as well. First off, what would your ideal free Warbond look like, and when would you try to bring it into the game? Leave a comment and let's get a discussion going, and I especially want to see what you would name your Warbonds. Let's have some fun with it. Difficulty increases being added to the game is something I'm starting to see and hear more and more, because we've become accustomed to Super Helldive, and I don't know, maybe it's time for Super Duper Helldive difficulty, or something like that. And this looks like it might be a little ways away, at least based on Safez's response. Here's what he said. We are discussing ways to increase the difficulty for the players that want that extra challenge. There's plenty of different avenues to take with this, so there's a lot of flexibility, including higher CRs, so do keep an eye out. Maybe not in the near future, though. Who knows, though? Maybe there's a way they can increase modifiers at the player's discretion, give us options, greater spawn rates for more XP, maybe a no HUD option, or even shorter timers. All could be installed to add in, like I said, extra elements of difficulty and danger. And finally, Safez weighed in on a hot topic I know you all want to know about: super credits. So first, let's see exactly what he said, and then I'm going to interject my thoughts here at the end. The super credits earnable rate is a complex thing to tackle. It's one of the ways to keep the game sustainable, as it allows us to reinvest the money we get from MTXs, or microtransactions, purchases back into the game, and if we make it too easy for players to earn SCs or super credits, then we reduce the revenue we earn, which has an impact on our internal cost and, in a sense, what we're capable of producing in the long term. It's really important to us to strike a good balance where earning SCs feels fair for players, yet still allows us to keep working on the game for a very long time to come. Adding new ways for players to earn SC adds big repercussions to all of that and adds more complexity for us to consider, so it's a delicate thing. Now, I'm sure we're probably going to land all over the place with our own internal translations of Safez's statements, but with the studio actively looking to hire a manager in charge of microtransactions, and now with this statement, it looks and feels like Arrowhead is actively looking to turn down the earn rate on super credits, because as they say, they need players spending IRL money on the shop purchases for the long-term sustainability of the game. That's a hot potato for sure. Earn rate versus spin factors, and if you get it wrong as a studio, the negative effects on the player base are far-reaching and not easily forgotten. Let's go ahead and press pause for today, because that's a metric crap ton of discussion points and topics being thrown around by Safez, and I'm really looking forward to reading any and all of your feedback on basically everything Helldivers related. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring the notifications bell so you don't miss one of my future upload alerts. All my socials, including links to today's sources, can be found in the video description. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.